4th of February, Rabbi Furst, Parsha, Hashevua, Teruma.
Okay, recording in progress. Teruma.
Good morning, Lou.
Morning.
Good morning, Rabbi Furst. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yomari.
Thank you. Shalom Aleichem to you as well, Lou, and to you. Mary, good to see you both. Okay, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Samanashi here in Yerushalayim Kerem Zoom. This is Erev Parsha Teruma Tavshin Pei Beit. We'll be learning a few things about this week's Parsha, which is some. To begin with, let's go to, I'll direct you to the following pasuk. Okay. In the Parsha, yes. Perek Chaf Zayin, if you want to direct your attention, excuse me, Perek Chaf Vav, chapter 26, pasuk 26, 28. Chapter 26, pasuk 28. Chaf Vav, pasuk Chaf Chet. Okay.
Riach?
Yes.
Okay.
Barry, would you like to read the pasuk?
Riach Hatichon B'Teich HaKadoshim V'Riach Min HaKotzer El HaKotzer V'Harbiach Hatichon. Tichon is like B'Teich.
Well, Tichon is the like central, like this
In the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I think don't they call it the Yama Tichon? What do they call it in the Mediterranean? Yama Tichon, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
B'Teich in the middle HaKadoshim. And the Kadoshim is the beams that stood straight up and down, right?
Right.
V'Riach Min HaKotzer, from one end El HaKotzer to the end.
So that okay, it's part of what we want to try and understand here. That, what do we think the plain meaning is of this pasuk?
Well, I don't know what the middle bar is.
You don't know what the middle bar is? Well.
Oh, that's the one that went through the rings.
No. There's several different types of bars that we're going through. Through these rings. So we're going in another way, but this one, as we'll take a look and we'll see.
It's hard to visualize that there's a middle bar inside the beams, inside the beams, actually not through the rings, actually in the beams.
Yeah, they're right.
Oh.
There's some that are on the outside, and we're holding on by those rings, as you said, and some are going through the actual.
It's like a hole that was bored through the plank of wood.
Right. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Rabbi. First, sorry I'm late.
Right, okay. if you have a chumash there, you can look there in chapter Chaf Vav, chapter 26.
Uh-huh. Oh, Chof Hey. Hey, Vav. So Hey. Chof Hey. Vav. Yes, Vav.
And in Pasuk Chaf Chet 28.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Chof. 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 Chof Hey. What was it? 20 Chof Tes.
26, 28. 26,
26.
26, 28.
Thank you. All right.
Um,
Oh, I've got it. It's a long Rashi.
we are actually, I don't think there's any Rashi on this
Isn't it?
pasuk. It's,
No, there's not.
no Rashi here at all.
Not on 28.
Right.
Hmm. It was a long Rashi on something.
Yeah, not on this though.
Oh, 24. 24 is a long Rashi.
The long Rashi on 26.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna discuss that, but no.
Okay.
So,
All right. So 20.
There's a diagram.
oh, you have a diet? You have,
I have a diagram on the other page that shows a bar going through the rings and a
Can you
bar
hold
going.
it? Can you
But
hold
then
it
in
up?
the middle, in the middle is like showing the hollow hole, the holes going through.
yeah,
Barry, can you hold it up, please?
sure.
Oh, sure. I don't know. Can you see it?
It's a bit blurry.
So in the middle there,
Yeah.
in the middle is what we're talking about. Is that right, Rebbe?
That's right.
I
That's
don't
right.
know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. That makes it easier.
Right.
That's a pretty long pole that has to go through from end to end.
Oh, so that's part of what we want to talk about. If you there's a Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Tzadi Ches Amud Beis, and it says about the Bria Chatichon, the Nes Hayoimid. It would be existing through a miracle. There was a miracle in this Bria Chatichon, because how is it supposed to do what it's supposed to do? Well, according to the way it's right. According to the pasuk, it's supposed to do what? How is this Bria Chatichon is actually supposed to be implemented into the construction of the Mishkan?
Right. You just go. If all the holes line up, you just stick it straight through.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, so okay, go ahead. Let me hear how it's supposed to. Go ahead. You'll explain how it's supposed to be done. What do you have to? You have to run through the oimdim, right?
You start at one end and you
Right.
push it through all the holes,
Right. And then what happens?
and then then you're done.
How do you secure it
Well,
so it doesn't sort of,
Right. What?
you need to secure
you
it to
go
the
from
bottom?
it's supposed to go through the crushing, right?
Yeah.
It's the crushing. It's supposed to go through the crushing. Now, so
It has a hole.
and where were the what were the look take where what was with the crushing? Where was the crushing? Where's the Torah describe the crushing? Hold on a second.
The crushing with the planks.
Those were the pillars.
Yeah. So they were standing straight up. You stood everything up, and the holes were lined up, and you stuck you go to the hardware store and you get a long pole and you put it through.
There's no hardware store there, silly. No, all right.
Go back. Let's go back to Pasuk Tesvav, right? The 15th pasuk over there. Back up
That's
about,
above?
yeah, go back up
Okay.
about 13 psukim.
Okay.
What's it say there?
V'osisa et haroshim. You should make the planks, right? They're the wooden
Right.
planks. The Mishkan, I'd say sheetim. You make them out of wood. Umdim, standing straight up and down. No?
Right. Right.
Okay.
So far,
So
so
far,
good.
so good.
Good.
So I continue?
Yeah.
Oh. Aser Amos Orech. They were 10 amos long. HaKoresh. The beam was 10 amos long. So when you stood it up, it was 10 amos high.
Right.
Right. The amma, the chatze, and it was a amma and a half. Amma. Rochev HaKoresh HaEchad. So then you had an amma and a half, it was amma and a half wide. HaKoresh. Each one was an amma and a half wide.
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
Shtei yodos LaKoresh. Two
Yodos, like those were yodos are like support pegs.
two pegs, LaKoresh, for each beam, ha'echad, mishalovos. Isha el achota. So they were connected together. They were connected
Right.
together.
That was used to connect, right?
Hein the asa lechol kar karshe hamishkan, and then that was for all the beams in the mishkan. Oh,
Right.
here's another one. Okay, here's another one. Here's another diagram. Okay. Okay. So I go continue. So at hakroshim, and you should make the beams the mishkan for the mishkan esrim koresh lefas hanegba the mena. So you should make for the mishkan 20 beams for the one on the south.
Yeah.
Va'arbayim adnei kesef ta'ase tachat esrim hakoresh, and then you make arbim 40 sockets under the 20 koresh. Shnei adonim tachas hakoresh ha'echad listei yudotov u'shnei adonim tachas hakoresh ha'echad listei yudotov. So each beam had two sockets.
Right.
Under each beam was two sockets for the two pegs.
Right.
And two, okay. And then two sockets under the next beam. So you had 40 sockets, right, for 20 beams,
Right.
and they were made of silver. Okay. Ul Salah Hamishkan Hasheni on the second side of the Mishkan, Lifas Saphon on the north, Esrim Koresh. So you also had 20.
So how many crushing do we have so far?
We got 20 on one side and 20 on the other.
Okay.
And you got 40 sockets on, and so you got 80 sockets altogether.
Okay, keep going.
Ba'arbaim adnehem kesef shnei adonim tachat hakoresh ha'echad u'shnei adonim tachas hakoresh ha'echad. Okay, the same thing. Silver sockets under 40 silver sockets under 20 beams. 2 sockets per beam. Oh, here we go. Ulyarkese Hamishkan, and on the ends, you may the Ase Shitim Korshim, there'll be six beams. Kochim, the Ase Limkuts Ut Hamishkan Biyar. And then there's two beams for the corners.
Right, because you have to connect the corners together, right? You have to make some kind of a
Right.
A connecting
Right.
corner.
To connect the ends. You the Amim Milmata, they'll fit together in the bottom. The yachta together, yachta, you Tamim al Rosho. And also at the top, they'll fit together at the top. Al Hatabaat Echad. So there's a ring at the top, wherever that goes. Cain Tieh Lishnehem. Shnei Hamiktos you. And then so the corners will have a ring.
Right.
And I guess it holds them at the top. There must have been some place for the ring to lock into, like a groove or something.
Right. So
Wow.
so again, when you look, so if you're looking at the Mishkan, if you're looking at the shell of the Mishkan with the pillars there, the crushing there. So how many total crushing do you have so far?
How many total?
Mm-hmm.
You had 46. And then at the corners, you had another 2. So it's 48, right?
Comes to total 8. 48.
48,
Right.
right. Is that right? Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Right. And so where did this Bria Chatichon go?
I mean,
So where did this Bria Chatichon, where does that situate here? With all these 48 crushing, where does the Bria Chatichon
the middle bar,
yeah,
it went in the middle through the holes.
one in the middle through the holes, okay. And where did it? So, if you were going to put it in, how would you describe how you would put it in? You've got your crushing, right? So how many crushing you've got?
48,
Okay,
20, 20, and 6.
20, 20, and 6. All right.
So you need
and-
you need three bars. One for the 20, one for the 20, and one for the 6.
So you got 2 on the corners also.
Excuse me?
You have 2 on the corners also.
How many corners?
Oh, right.
2 corners. 2 corners.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Okay.
So how did it work out?
So then you would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need 5 bars.
Well, is that what it says here in the pasuk?
No.
Barry, you fouled yourself up, Barry.
Yeah. All right. So I got 4 bars more than we need. I have to bring him back and get a refund.
You have to go back to MIT and work it out, huh? So let's take a look, maybe in that big Rashi in the previous right?
Yeah.
In that big Rashi previous, look at the Rashi there on Pasuk Chav. Let's look at Pasuk Chav Vav, and then we'll see the Rashi on Pasuk Chav Vav.
Above?
Yeah, Chav Vav.
Didn't that you do the Rashi on that?
Yeah, we're gonna look at the Pasuk first, and then we'll do the Rashi.
That's the pasuk we did, right?
We started with Pasuk Chav Chet.
Oh,
Well, we did.
okay, so it's
Oh,
5.
we did Chav Chet. Oh, right. So now we're gonna do Chav Vav.
Right.
5 for the boys and
Vasita berichem atzei shitim. So the bars are made out of wood. Chamisha karshe tzela hamishkan hoechad. Oh, well, that's what it says. Oh no, wait. That's okay. That's on.
Right.
Bars of sheeting wood for the. Oh, okay. V'chamisha v'reihem nekarshe tzela hamishkan hasheni v'chamisha v'reihem karshe tzela hamishkan liar kasayim yama. So that's okay, but so that's the ones that go through the rings.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
now, good. All right. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at the Rashi on Chav Vav here.
Oh wait, I forgot this one.
Hmm.
V'habariach hatichon b'toich hakoshim mivriach min hakotza el hakotza, and so it goes from end to end.
Now, what does it mean end to end?
Yeah, but it has to make a U-turn.
Oh, yeah. Has to make. Well, I don't know about a U-turn. It's got to make the.
That would have to be. That would be a plastic hose.
Think so.
Huh?
Think
No,
so.
am I right?
I guess so.
No, I'm saying that's what it's saying from end to end. First, I said end to end would be, like all along 10 of them, but this is saying from the beginning all the way around, all the way to the other end.
That's right. Now,
So
how you,
that has to be made out of Teflon, right,
um,
Roy? That,
If you say so, yes.
I mean,
I don't know.
it has to be it has to be pliable.
Well, what did it say over here? It said that, go back to that pasuk 15, right? Atze shitim, the pillars were made of atze shitim, right?
The pillars were, yeah.
But what was the what were the briefing made out of?
What pasuk are we up to now?
No, what we're just trying to find out what were the briefing made out of?
Pardon me?
What were the poles made of from?
Yeah. Poles made of. Ah,
And Yaakov planted cedars are made of shittim tree.
no, they're made of wood. They're made of wood.
Right.
It's made of wood, shittim wood.
That's right. Those are the shitim that I right, Roy. The Roy Yaakov Avinu planted. Yeah, he planted them.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was reading it. It's not.
Well,
I was reading it from the Rashi.
I think he was there to give a personal account of what happened. If you were, you'd be giving the share, not me.
Oh,
So what is what's this? So in short, what's the our understanding of this Bria Chatichon? How's it supposed to be? It's supposed to be going mikatzel katza from end to end, right?
Well, based on what the pasuk says, it has to bend around, but it's made of wood, so I'm stuck.
Right.
It's plywood.
It's pliable wood. Pliable wood. I don't know.
Okay, so therefore that's Shabbos comes to tell us that the Bria Chatokin was a miracle. There was a miracle involved in the Bria Chatichon, because there was no way you can go from one end of the crushing to the other end of the crushing, making 1, 2 right hand turns, making a 90-degree angle turn. How could that ever take a path that, it's not physically possible that such a thing can happen like that.
Even if you said they do this with furniture, they take furniture and they bend it around to make shapes.
Right.
They soak it and they steam it and they make curves, right?
Right.
So even if you could say that if you took this long piece of wood and softened it up, steamed it or whatever, and you twisted it around and bent it around, even if you did that, when it dried, you couldn't get it out.
Oh, that's another point. Yeah, how do you get this thing out?
Yeah. Okay.
Who says you take it out?
when they're going to pack up,
You have to take it apart, take it down. The Mishkan didn't stand by itself forever. They took it apart and carried it around. Right?
Right.
Okay, so that's a second miracle.
That's it.
They got it out. that they got it out.
Right, putting it in is a miracle, taking it out is a miracle.
Why don't you say that they had 4 bars?
Because it says, Habri
You need 5 bars.
well. no, the
Anyway,
middle-
yeah.
Middle, yeah, well,
Okay, so now we're stuck 2 times.
yeah, it's stuck here. Take a look.
So they had a piece of wood that whatever that they carried around that was more than twice as long as the Mishkan. Unless they rolled it up, I don't know. Maybe they could, roll it up and carry it around from place to.
Right.
Was it completely straight, or were they able to bend it to store it away?
Could maybe fold it up. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. So, I'm not sure. There's the armor portion that discussed this in detail. But maybe let's take a look at Rashi first. It's the Rashi going on Pasuk of 26. Rashi Pasuk 26. That anyone has the Rashi in English?
Yeah.
It's probably quicker if we read it in
Yes.
English. The Rashi. rather than what-
Should I read it in English?
Yeah.
Okay. Berehim, this is to be understood as it is rendered by Targum Onkelos, traverse bars.
Traverse bars, right? Okay.
Transverse.
Transverse bars, right. Transverse bars. Okay.
Okay.
5 for the. What do you mean 5 for the beams? If you don't need 5, you need 1. Why?
Well, that's no, because he's in Chav Zion. It's Chav Zion. It says Chamisha Richim Lekerish. Each of the pillars had 5 transverse bars going supporting it. Rashi's going to describe it.
I'm sorry, I'm lost. Where, what
Continue
are
with the
these?
Rashi. Continue in the Rashi.
5 for the beams of one side of the Mishkan. These 5 bars are in a sense 3, but the Torah calls them 5 because the upper and lower bars are each made of 2 pieces. One of the 2 pieces extends to the middle of the wall, and the other extends to the middle of the wall. One goes into the rings inserted into the side of the beams on one side of the wall, and the other goes into the rings of the beams on the other side until they reach each other. Thus, the upper and lower bars are 2 bars, which are 4 on each side. So that so far, then we would have 8. And then on the one with 6, we'd have the same thing. We'd have 2 more. We'd have 4.
All right.
Mhm.
So far, so good.
Okay. But that's the ones that go through the rings, no?
That's right. Rashi's describing all of the
Oh, yeah.
bars. Describing all of the
That-
bars.
Okay.
We have
Thus the
some of-
upper.
So he's discussed the ones on the outside right now.
Thus, the upper and lower bars are 2 bars, which are 4. But the length of the middle bar corresponded to the entire wall and it extended from one end of the wall to the other. As it says, the middle bar, etc., shall extend from end to end. The upper and lower bars had rings on the beams into which they were inserted, 2 rings for each beam, and in a 3-part arrangement within the 10 amas of the height of the beam. 1 section from the top ring forward and 1 section from the bottom one downward.
Right.
Each section of these 2 occupied a quarter of the length of the beam. And there are 2 sections, a double-sized section between one ring and another. The rings were measured off precisely in accordance with the above measurements, so that all of the rings should be aligned one to the other. But the central bar had no rings. Here we go.
This is it, right? Now we're talking about the rings.
Now, okay. All right. Now, okay. But the central bar had no rings, but rather the beams are bored through their thickness, and the central bar goes into the beams through the holes, which are aligned with one another.
Now
This
that-
is what is,
So a second. So Barry, how are you going to align all these? You have 48 beams. How are you going to align all those holes?
well, they had a drill, you go to the hardware store, you get a drill, and you measure precisely, and you drill each one, and then when you line them up, the holes are lined up.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Must be.
No, I mean, no, seriously, each beam that they made, they precisely put the hole right where, so that it would line up,
Okay.
right?
Well, okay. What if you made a mistake somewhere along the line?
Yeah, but they didn't make a mistake because
Ah.
they had Ruach, whatever, Bezalel, Bezalel was, he had whatever, special help.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So they got it perfect.
Obviously. Otherwise it wouldn't work.
Right. This is what is meant by that which it says, the central bar within the beams. As to the upper and lower bars, which are on the north and south, the length of each one was 15 amos. And as to the central one, its length was 30 amos.
It's like I said, there were 4 beams.
Why do you say they were?
No, there's not 4 beams.
There's 2 beams that are 30 amos and 2 beams that are 15 amos. That's what Rashi just said.
No, that's
What, a 30 and 15, that gives you 75 amas. What do you need? So the Mishkan wasn't that big.
Well, one side was 20 beams. Each beam is an amma and a half. So that's 30 amos. So each side was 30 amos. And then the other dimension,
wait, you forgot the
We
north.
did 15
the
from.
north. Yeah, the other one had 6. You forgot the one with the 6.
so that's 12 amos. But I'm sorry, that's 12,
9. 9.
9 amos. So where does he get 15?
Yeah, but that's not what. Yeah. No, it's not talking about that. This is what is meant from end to end, from the east end of the Mishkan to the west end of the Mishkan, all the way around.
It very clearly says the upper and lower bars, which were on the north and south, the length of each one was 15 amos.
That's not talking about what we want. That's the ones that went through the rings.
It says the central bar within the beams. Oh, wait a second. It says the central bar within the beams
Yeah.
is 30 amos.
Right.
There is no central bar in the end. There's only two central bars.
No, there's one central bar. There's one central bar that went all the way through from end to end.
Well, then explain to me why it says the central bar was 30 amos.
Wait a minute. So it says, wait a second. The central bar has no rings, but rather the beams are bored through their thickness, and the central bar goes into the beams through the holes. We're good so far? Which are aligned with one another. This is what is meant by that which says the central bar within the beams.
And what I'm reading says, and as to the central one, its length was 30 amos. That's pretty clear.
You're both on the same pasuk?
I don't know where you're at. You reading a pasuk or you reading Rashi?
I'm reading Rashi.
As to the upper and lower bars, see, you're talking upper and lower bars are the ones that went through the rings. We're talking about the central bar. The central bar. You're talking about the bars that went through the rings, the upper and lower rings.
Okay, you see the picture that you showed us before on
Yeah.
page 358?
Yes.
Okay, so up from that picture, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. The end of the line, it says, and as to the central one, its length was 30 amos.
Wait a minute. It's what it's saying is that section of the bar, that section of the central bar was 12 amos, but the whole length of everything was not 12. That's what it's saying.
Look at the next sentence. This is what is meant by from end to end.
I don't see that.
It's the next sentence after it says, as to the central one, its length was 30 amos. This is what is meant by from end to end.
I'm not following where you are.
1 second, we'll try and clear this up a little bit better here. Hold on.
I don't follow where your translation is different than mine.
Well, I can read you the Hebrew. V'zehu min hakatza el hakatza. This is what is meant from end to end.
Yeah.
Then it continues. Min ha-mizrach. Whoops, wait a second. Okay, go up one line. V'ha tichon arko shaloshim ama. And the central one, its length was 30 amos. V'zehu min hakatza el hakatza. And this is what is meant by from end to end. You see
Okay,
the
so
Hebrew I read?
Okay, so 30 amos, right? So 30 amos, right, means it went all the way around everything. No?
No, 20 beams on a side. Each beam is 1.5 amos. That's 30 amos on each side.
Right?
Look at the picture in your book on page 346.
Let's see. 346, yeah.
You see the picture?
Yep.
So it shows that there are 20 beams on the left side,
Right.
not counting the corners.
Right.
So that's the 30 amos. Then on the right side, it's not numbered, but it's the same.
Okay, that's okay.
So there's 30 and 30, 60 total.
But that's not what this is. But it's not referring to the center one.
Yeah, it says,
I'm gonna put something on the screen. We'll take a look what I'm gonna put this on the screen. Take a look what it says here. Hold on. We'll put this up here. Let's see. Okay, so here, because of these difficulties that you're experiencing and understanding the pshat, so we have here the Ra'im Rav Eliel Mizrahi is coming to help us. Let's see if you see your. You see your screen? Do you see the? You should have your screen. Oh, everyone see it is on the screen yet?
Not yet.
I say it.
Okay, very good. Okay. Yeah, let's read what he has to say about this. This is the Mizrahi, the Re'em, Rabbi Eliyahu as Mizrahi, Shmos Perek Chavav. He's explaining our Rashi. This Rashi we're working on now says Vatichon Archoi Shloshim Amach. And the Tichon, right, that one beam, central beam, was 30 amos. Zehu mikatzer el katzer. That's what it is from one end to the other end. Min hamizrach vad hamayruv. From the mizrach side of the Mishkan all the way to the Ma'ariv side of the.
But that's already more than 30.
So hold on. Go ahead. So Lefi habraisa, the Melachas HaMishkan. Okay, this is according to the Brisa, which is it's a Brisa called Melachas HaMishkan. It goes into just like a Brisa that you have in any other section of the Gemaras. You have different Brisas. So this is according to the Brisa of Melachas HaMishkan, that it would be 30 amos and would go from the Mizrach L'Ma'ariv, an extended 30 amos. Okay, now all it means is Mekatza. Katza doesn't mean from one literal end to the other literal end, but it means it went from one side to the other side. Didn't necessarily have to go to the absolute end of the other side, because if it went to the absolute end of the other side, it would have to be 48 amos, correct?
Yes, exactly, right.
Have to go be 48 amos. This it says, and this Rashi is saying is only 30 amos. So therefore, it apparently went the cell phone side, which was that was 8 amas. So you had 8 minus from the 30. So that would leave you 22, and it would be 11 amas on each side. Be 11 amas on each side of the 2 sides.
Ah, yeah.
That would be according to the Brisa in the Melechus Mishnah. Aval, the Perika Zoyrech, according to the Gemara, right? According to the Gemara, that's in Gemara and Shabbos Tzadiches Amid Beis Amru.
Right.
The Gemara says, "Abriach atichon betocha krashim, abriach mina katza el katza, tana b'neis haya oimi." The abriach atichon would go from the one end of the crushing to the other end of the crushing, and it was done through a miracle. The svara that was shot in the Gemara, the svara the perish minakatza al katza hu minakatza mizrachi deroimi ad katza tzifoni mizrachi, right? Shahayas soivev kol shlosh ruchos. It would go through all 3 directions, all 3 sides.
Mm-hmm.
Or that would be a full-fledged 48 amma Bria Chatichon. So you have a machlokus. According to the Brisa Malachas Mishkan, the Bria Chatichon was 30 amos long, and according to the Gemara and Shabbos, it was 48 amos long.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just one example of the many miracles that were in the Mishkan itself. If you're just in the physical construction and maintenance of the Mishkan, there were many miracles. They're not, you don't always see them by reading the psukim. But if you're following along carefully, and you're like as Rashi's telling us here, and sometimes you don't realize these things on your own, so you just simply pick it up because it's brought down in Chazal. Chazal will alert us to the various different miracles that took place in the actual, not only construction of the miracle, but actually also in its maintenance. How the Mishkan was maintained was also done in many miraculous ways, which is something that we should try and imagine, because if you think about what Klal Yisrael was going through on a daily basis in the Midbar, so they were living with many different miracles, and the tendency of a person is even if he's living with miracles, he may have a tendency to desensitize himself to the wonderment that he should be involved with in terms of trying to understand the miracles that he's in the midst of, and
Right.
and that's also something for us that all of us in many different ways, and collectively and individually, we're in the midst of many different miracles, and but the natural tendency of a person is to desensitize himself to the miracles at hand. So
I'm sure that the Yidden, sorry. I'm sure the Yidden would took for granted the well of Miriam after a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, because the Medrash says that they used to the well used to produce lakes, and they were when women would want each tribe of the 12 different tribes that they were divided to, the Jewish people here in the Midbar. So each, as you know, each tribe had its own area, and lakes would separate each tribe from the next. And when women would want to go and visit their friend, let's say a woman from Shevet Shimon wanted to visit a friend of hers from Shevet Dan, so she would get into a little boat, and she would use the the boat to float on down to our friend in Shevet Dan. So in spite of the fact that they were in the desert and there's not many opportunities to go rowboating in the desert, but that's what they did if they so chose. So yeah, they lived under the influence of many miracles, and that's a great opportunity to come close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So a person looks and is careful to be perceptive and conscious, sensitize himself to the miracles around him. These miracles are a very important and positive way of getting close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So yeah, that's just something to try and realize. And as we're learning through these parshas, that we're learning about the construction of the midbar, to try and be sensitive to the various different miracles, or perhaps miracles that might be taking place. So okay, very good. I guess that's about the end of our time. Everyone should have a very good Shabbos, and hope to see you all on Yom Rishon. Again, Yom Rishon will be starting in the Mishnah Berurah Shir Hilchos Purim, right?
Above.
Just above, Pelik above, exactly, Barry. Fine. Okay,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Shabbat shalom. Be
Shabbos.
well.
Be well.
Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good Shabbos.